Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Drew Evans, and welcome to Superliga today. Over the next couple of months, we're going to be chatting about the Superliga de Futsal Brisbane, discussing the matches, what goes on and off the court. Today, I'm joined by Marty Calvert. Marty, how are you?
I'm great, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries, not a pleasure. It has been 4 weeks now since the season started, and I've got to say I've been unbelievably impressed by the quality of performances by all teams.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to watch. There's a couple of teams in there you can see week on week. They're changing their tactics, learning from the week before, getting better and better as they go. And some other teams that have just been great from the outset, determined, and you can see they're definitely they're playing to win, no doubt about that. So it's great to see also all the teams play, and they're all contributing a great deal to the whole competition. It's really great to watch.
Definitely, and obviously that incentive of a $14,000 prize pool is obviously massive for the teams.
Yeah, it's something that we haven't seen a lot of in Brisbane up until this point. So it's great to get that as part of this competition, and I know a lot of the players are talking about it, and that's why they're here. That's why they're a part of it, which is great.
Yeah, and I mean we're now 4 weeks in, as we just mentioned, but I think we're starting to see some teams obviously asserting themselves as the front runners in the league. Obviously, teams like Brisbane Futsal and Kinkaro and a couple of others very closely behind them. But I think I can't wait to see the rest of the league really and what happens.
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting results along the way. I'm sure. It's there are some games that are definitely difficult to pick, and again, it's sometimes it comes down to player availability on the night, as well as injuries and whatever else, which can actually make a huge impact on the end result.
Oh, for sure, and I mean we've spoken previously about the impact of having good depth in the squads. Obviously, when we look at some of the teams, there's a lot of talent in display across all the teams. There's no doubt about that. But it's the teams that have got the depth, those legs that can really just keep going all the way through, week in, week out, makes it a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's some of the teams have recruited well, and others have still got a bit more to go. I think.
Yeah, and I mean we're only 4 weeks in. We've still got another 10 weeks left in the season. Plenty of time for teams to sort of work out their own strengths and weaknesses, as well as those of other teams in the league, and how they can, put themselves in the best position to earn from that prize pool.
Absolutely, and given the opportunity to play each other twice, they can learn from the last time they played the opposition and put some new plans in place.
Yeah, it'll be entertaining to see. So, guys, the way that we're now going to run this is we're going to have a look at the results from round 1 of the season, have a chat about some of the games, and work our way through the season. Okay, guys, so now we're going to get into the results from round 1 of the season. First game, Marty, Caledon United 5, Kinkaro United 7. Fantastic result for the boys in red to get their season underway.
Yeah, great start. I think was an interesting clash as our first game for Superliga. Some of the current stars of futsal in Brisbane, if you like, versus a few of the old boys. And I'm sure they'll be okay with me saying that. But it's good to see some of those guys back on court, and it was a fantastic game. I think both teams again just getting used to some of the new rules that are in place, and so it was interesting to watch them adapt even as the game played out. So, but a fantastic result for Kinkaro. I'm sure they were happy to get themselves off to a winning start.
And obviously a lot of talent within that Kinkaro now, a lot of talent within both squads, but
phenomenal list of players to be playing in that first game. So some of the likes of Benny Hunt and Luke Hayden and Renard Ingram and a few of the names of yesteryear, if you like, and guys like Mitch Lowe, the Bolschmeider brothers, both there, and Adam Stacey as well for Kinkaro. So some fantastic names of futsal in Brisbane, and they're all on the same court playing against each other. A close result, 7-5. I think talking to the boys from Caledon afterwards, they think they've got a fair bit left in the tank as they get used to the conditions and back playing again with each other. So they're keen to give it another shot, that's for sure.
I'm excited to see, obviously, their performances over the remainder of the season. But I think the difference for me watching that game with Kinkaro was just that youthful energy, in a sense that some of those players do bring to the court. Obviously, it's just players like Mitch Lowe we saw had an absolutely phenomenal game, scoring a hat-trick. just anytime he picked the ball up, he was just looking at his man, going, "I'm getting past you."
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to stop him.
Yeah, look, and you know, Kinkara were short on numbers. I think they played 5 players. No, they did have 1 sub. That's right. And Caledon had a bit of a full bench, so they were rotating quite often. But yeah, the bit extra gas in the legs there for Kinkara, and yeah, they're looking sharp. They fair bit of training, prior to this competition, and a lot of time on the court leading into it. So those guys were primed and ready to go. And yeah, I think ultimately that sort of proved the difference, really.
A great result there for Kinkara Knights to get them underway in the season. So in the other results for round 1, we saw Browser Futsal beat Glasgow Royals 15-3, Orpea Athletic victorious over Carina 8-2, and Brisbane AFG will be taking on Basana Rangers at a later date. Now, Marty, after that performance in round 1, Team of the Week was a hard pick, selecting those players.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I was saying in the lead-up, everyone's turned up to play in this tournament. They're not holding back, and they're throwing everything out in an effort to win the game for their team. And in that comes some fantastic performances, and the players that are listed here, we could have picked another 5.
Easily.
So for week 1, it was a great start.
Definitely, and obviously starting off with the goalkeeper position, Joe Heinreich in goal for Glasgow Royals. A performance that the scoreline doesn't really reflect how well Joe played in that game.
No, that's right, and only half the game too. But made plenty of saves and gave his club as much opportunity as he could to have a respectable result. There was a lot of fire raining down him, and he did a great job. Body on the line, no fear at all, and he's well rewarded with a Team of the Week spot.
And obviously, only a young goalkeeper, 16 years old, plenty of development still left in him, and I look forward to seeing his progression over the remainder of the season and further on.
Absolutely, yeah.
The next player in our Team of the Week, we spoke about a little bit before, Mitch Lowe for Kinkara Knights. Thoroughly deserved performance from Mitch. 3 goals, 11 dribbles in that game. He was just on form.
Yeah, you can see some days he really just wants to be there. Give me the ball and let me do my thing. So a bit of freedom for Mitch, and he just relished the opportunity. He was there to win, and he was very sharp, quite agile on the court, a lot of movement, and delivered, like I said, 3 goals, and the Team of the Week performance was great.
The third player for Team of the Week in round 1, Andre Pereira from Browser Futsal. I think you'd go hard past to find a better player in Brisbane in general than Andre.
Yeah, he's quite commanding. Plays in that pivot role at the back there, just sort of pulling the strings. Even defensively, he gets his body in some interesting positions to make some challenges, but often comes out on top, and he's very, very solid, and we saw that again in round 1.
Yeah, 2 goals and 2 assists, but I think it was definitely, as you mentioned, his ability at the back, just controlling the tempo of the game for Browser, just dictating the play, was just fantastic to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to watch him play every week. It's a pleasure to watch play over that time.
Yeah. And the fourth player, his teammate, Jamie Dimitrov, a player that really we haven't seen too much before going into this tournament, or this league, sorry. But I think he was a standout player in that game. Absolutely phenomenal performance. Scoring 2 goals, creating 8 chances for his teammates. I think he can be very happy with his performance.
Yeah, no doubt. He's class, absolutely. Like you said, we haven't seen a lot of him up until this point, but it's great to have him as part of this competition, and his touch on the ball, his vision as well. You see, he created 8 opportunities, and a lot of that comes from what he sees in front of him and being able to read the play, where a lot of other players still just head down going forward, and he's looking left and right. You can see that all the time, and his good touch on the ball gives him that opportunity to put himself in a good position as well to lay on the next pass.
And so our 5th and final player making Team of the Week round 1 from Orpea Athletic, Dane Stokes, one of the most technically gifted and skillful players out there.
Yeah, Dane's been lifting his performances steadily over the last few months to 12 months probably. Coming to this league, first round here, some sublime touches. One goal that he scored, which was just remarkable. But he's got that touch, he's got that ability. It's good to see now. You can see that he's getting a bit more confident at this level. For him, he's still only a young guy, so playing in an open men's competition and actually starting to, as we saw from this game, just own the game as well. That's great to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think 3 goals, 2 assists for him. Again, another player who can be unbelievable, can be very happy with his performance in the game.
For sure.
So that wraps up, guys, team of the week for round 1. Obviously, the 5 players over the week, best performances. I think a lot of players that could have made that list just missed out, but I think it just shows the level of talent on display in this league. Competition to be able to make selections like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a tough call every week.
Now, guys, we're going to jump straight into the results from round 2 of the season. The first game of the night saw Caledon United pick up their first win of the season with an 8-1 win over Carina. Second game saw Glasgow Royals, another loss for them, 9-1 against Kinkaro Knights. Browser Futsal continued their winning streak, 7-1 winners over new team, Basana Rangers. And the final game of the night, Brisbane AFG marked their first appearance of the season with a 4-1 win over Orpea Athletic. Marty, I think that game was a fantastic display of futsal to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. One for the traditionalists almost, where a half-time result of 0-0, but it was so exciting to watch. There were a number of opportunities, some great goalkeeping and defensive play by both sides to keep that scoreline, but it was definitely not a dull game to watch at that stage. Both teams were in that game all the way up until the last moment. So, the result there at 4-1, probably thinking that AFG might have skipped away, but it was only late in the game where they got those goals. So, great performance by both clubs. I think everyone involved in that game can be proud of themselves because it was definitely a fantastic one to watch and some good play from both teams, both in attack and defence.
Yeah, I think 40 minutes of just non-stop action, basically, end-to-end stuff, and we've spoken about it previously a number of times, just the performances of the goalkeepers in this, and this game was just an unbelievable display from both goalkeepers.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, like I said, the goalkeepers were definitely great performances, but even just defensively, there was some good defensive structure by both teams. They could identify what the threats were going to be from their opposition and defensively work on nullifying those. So, whilst it was exciting, the real clear-cut opportunities, there weren't too many. The players didn't really miss a great deal of opportunities there. So 4-1, it's probably flatters AFG a little bit at the end, but a great performance of futsal.
A lot of respect shown by both players on either side of each team, really. Again, we mentioned 0 at half-time. I think teams sort of, particularly AFG making their first appearance of the season, sort of testing themselves, just, treading water lightly, just seeing how, the other team, not knowing who Orpea were, not knowing some of the players, just sort of, like you said, working out, okay, how do we need to play against them?
Their first night on the new rules as well, so a couple of things for them to work through, and I'd say they'd be pretty happy walking away with the win, that's for sure.
Definitely, and I remember I spoke to the guys at the end of the game, and they were delighted. I mean, Ralph, in particular, scoring a couple of goals for himself in the game, you could just see the emotion on his face, just what it meant to him, just screaming.
And again, another club, they're here to play, they're here to win, and it's great to see players celebrating when they score. I mean, everyone's a little bit too cool for school sometimes, I think. We score goals, it's like, oh, well, no problems. But great to see these guys with some real emotion. And they fought hard for those goals, and they came, and it was great to see.
Definitely. And so now, guys, that brings us to Team of the Week for round 2, and starting with the goalkeeper position from that game of Orpea and Brisbane AFG, Will Espinosa-Leon in goal for Orpea. I think 8 saves, first half clean sheet. I think he can feel hard done by conceding 4 goals in the later stages of the second half, but he had a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, definitely a standout. The goalkeepers have been one of the highlights of this competition. Everyone that's scoring goals, well done to you, because that if you're getting one in the back of the net, you're working hard for it because the goalkeepers are on point at this point in time. And Will in that game was phenomenal. Like you said, first half clean sheet. There were a lot of opportunities, but he did everything that he could. And again in the second half, I think there were a couple of goals where it was probably left a little bit as the Orchid team were trying to push to score goals. They left a few holes at the back, and he can't plug all the holes, but he did a great job.
And AFG is so quick on the counter attack, it makes it hard. When you're the last line as the goalkeeper, just
absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, second player in the Team of the Week round 2 from Kinkara Knights, Sam Bushweiler. 4 goals alongside with his brother, 4 goals apiece. It was a good bit of rivalry between them on court, but Sam just edges out his brother in the spot with 4 goals as well as his 8 dribbles in their 9-1 win over Glasgow. I think Sam is just a class player all round.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, a player that his confidence has been building a little bit over the last couple of months as well. Always been a quality player, but now you can see that his touch on the ball is solid. His ability to take players on one-on-one, especially in that game, was great. And he's clinical when he gets in that form and he has a shot on goal. He can be clinical, and so it was good to see that he had that opportunity in this game and to come away with 4 goals. Again, like you said, a little bit of one-upmanship potentially on his brother. 4 goals each. It was great to see, but for him, no doubt, again, just some good reward for some solid play.
I think Sam's one of those players in the league who has the ability to score not just on his right foot, but comfortably on his left foot as well, which a lot of players can score goals with their weak foot, their heads, but Sam can do it with such conviction that you actually look at it and go, is that his weak foot? Yeah,
you're right. In the right conditions, but he definitely creates goals for himself to score on the left foot as well. Where a lot of players will just instinctively go for their dominant foot every time. If it's not the right way, he'll duck out and go back over to his left and slot one from there as well.
Exactly.
Great talent to have, great skill to have.
And so the guys, the third player that makes our Team of the Week for this round from Browser Futsal, Fabio Barbosa. I think Marty, 3 goals, 8 creations from Fabio on top of the 4 goals that he got in round 1, marking himself early as a Golden Boot contender. Another fantastic display from Fabio.
Yeah, he was great to watch. Fantastic game. I think 7-1. That result is probably really doesn't say a lot about Basana and their first hit out this week, but they jumped right into a pretty thick deep end there with the Brazil boys who are on fire and Barbosa there, he was a standout for sure. And just quality finishes, and you can see the reason he scored goals is because he was watching what the goalkeeper was doing and reacting to what was in front of him. He wasn't just, this is the time that I should be shooting and I just hit it as hard as I can and close my eyes and hope for the best. He's reading what's in front of him and putting the ball in the slot. So, that's the eye of a great goal scorer, and I've no doubt that he'll be at the top of the list at some point. Whether he ends up with the Golden Boot or not, but he'll be there or thereabouts, that's for sure.
Definitely. And so now the 4th player for Team of the Week round 2 from Caledon United, Scotty Fenn. Fantastic to see the performance from Scott, obviously getting a hat-trick for himself as well as just over half a dozen creations as well. Fantastic display, rolling back the years with it. Yeah, absolutely. He played really well, and I think probably a little bit dirty on himself from the week prior. But he's another player who he's had some long-term injuries over the course of time. He's playing his way back, I think. To be honest, I'm sure Scotty will be happy with this as well, that he's probably not hit his peak form from what he would expect of himself. He's probably been a couple of games here and there where he's played well and others where he hasn't. So he's still aiming for some of that consistency. But this game was outstanding. He really controlled the game for Caledon, and you could see his vision and his experience coming through that game, and created some chances, scored some himself. So hats off to Scott. I hope that he keeps improving from here. You can see he's a lot more comfortable in the court than he was, and I really have a lot of time for him, and I hope that this is the first of many of these Team of the Week appearances for him. Definitely. And so now, guys, the fifth and final player for Team of the Week, round 2, from Brisbane AFG's win over Auckland Athletic, Ramazan Abdullahi. Marty, I think what's impressed me the most about Ramazan compared to the other 8 core players, the 7 core players over the 2 Team of the Week so far is no goals, no assists from Ramazan, but it was just his ability dribbling with the ball, creating chances for his teammates, and just dictating the play from start to finish. He was instrumental in the win for AFG.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a quality player, there's no doubt about it. Calm and composed. Again, just sitting there, working the team. I think at one stage there he saw an opportunity and ran down the left-hand sideline, taking on, I think it was Elliot Brown down the sideline at one stage. And Orpia trying to push, and the opportunity was to play the ball and chase, and he did. It was a really simple move, but just one that comes with some experience, someone that he can see what's in front of him and play what he sees, rather than sticking to this is the system, this is the structure, I should play the ball here and I should run there. He's a player that can read what the opposition are doing before they do it and play to that.
And definitely it's a display that a lot of players, they'll look at stats, they'll go, player so-and-so scored this number of goals, this amount of assists type thing, whereas I think Ramazan displayed, you don't have to get on the score sheets to actually be an influence in a game. You can just control the game, and even if you're not directly putting the ball in the back of the net or making a pass for them, you can still completely control it.
Absolutely. And again, you'd say one of the reasons why Orpia didn't score as many goals as they probably should have was him defensively.
Yeah.
So, read the play, cut out some passes, really strong one-on-one defensively.
Yeah.
There wasn't too many players, I don't think, that actually took him one-on-one. If they had, they probably would have scored more goals.
Yeah.
But he was very solid.
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, that wraps up Team of the Week for round 2. 5 fantastic performances over the course of the week. Now, guys, we're going to jump straight into round 3 results. Okay, so now, guys, on to round 3 of the season, and the first result of the night, Caledon United victorious over Pisana Rangers 4-1. Orpia Athletic, a big 10-0 win for them over Glasburn Royals. Brisbane AFG picking up back-to-back wins with a 5-0 win over Carina. And Marty, in our game of the night, Braza Futsal, first in the league, victorious over second place King Cara Knights 6-3. Just a fantastic display by both teams, but Braza definitely deserved winners.
Yeah, look, solid game. Definitely another one to watch. I'm already sort of penciling this one into my calendar for the return match, because two quality teams that have both turned up to this competition to say we're going to win this, and realistically it could have gone either way on the night. I think even in commentary on the night, I think we spoke about Kincaro's lack of depth in terms of numbers on the bench, and I think that's when you're playing against a team like Braza, have quality players and a lot of them. They can keep coming at you the whole time, and there is no rest. And I think that's something that the Kinkara guys have probably got to have a look at, is whether they can, they've got some good quality players in their squad. Can they bring them week in, week out so that they're all there, and especially on the big nights like this one. But, well done to Braza. They played fantastically well, scored some great goals, some good team play. They moved the ball around really well.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just one touch, just in and out, finding pockets of space that you didn't even know were there.
No, that's right. And I think there's some opportunities defensively that Kinkara need to have a look at around what they can do differently there. But both teams played well. It was a great game to watch, and a 6-3 result is probably fair of what we saw, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think, as we mentioned, Kinkara have since made a few new signings, so hopefully that means that going forwards in the season, they will be able to have depth on the bench to get them through. But again, it was another match where only the one substitute, and as we said, when you are playing against a team like Braza where they've got 5, 6, 7 players on the bench, all of which can come on at that point. We mentioned talking to Coach Raz Mazzotti at the end of the game. his hardest decision is choosing who plays.
Yeah.
Which, from a coach, as you know, it's a perfect position to be in.
Quality issue to have, yeah.
Yeah, can't go wrong with it. And I mean, hopefully we'll see Alistair Bullschneider picking up a knock towards the end for the Kinkaro, which, down with only 6 to start with, reducing them to 5 makes things always harder. But hopefully, Ali's feeling better, he's recovered, and he's able to come back for the remainder of the season, guns blazing.
Yeah, well, they're going to need him, that's for sure. So another quality player in a team of quality players. But yeah, he's if that injury doesn't clear up quickly, he'll be sorely missed. So hopefully he can get himself back.
Definitely. Now, guys, we're going to jump straight into Team of the Week for round 3, and in the goalkeeper's position, Connor McLeod from Caledon United game over Basana Rangers. Now, Marty, 9 saves in total from Connor, and in particular that triple save, just outrageous.
Absolutely. Look, Basana, they came up against a red hot goalkeeper here. Like, what was the score? 4-1 in that game, and there were probably a couple of times where the Basana players were already celebrating, thinking they had scored, and the ball just didn't end up in the back of the net. He was big and strong, and played out of his skin. And again, we keep saying it, but another goalkeeper of high quality standard who's come to this competition and will do everything that he can to make sure his team wins. So he did well.
And I spoke with Connor at the end of the game. Obviously, the one goal that he did concede right at the end, he was fuming with himself over that mistake. Opportunity to keep a clean sheet, as we see in futsal week in, week out, very hard to do. So I know that's the one little slip he had, but overall, I mean, it was just an unbelievable display, commanding in his D, controlling the play from the back.
Yeah. But how good is it to have a player like that who played such an outstanding game and still be upset that he let one in, so he has to work harder?
Exactly.
Great to see.
Fantastic. So now, guys, the second player for Team of the Week, Elliot Brown for All Pure Athletic from their 10-0 win over Glasgow Royals. Elliot picking up his first goal of the season, 7 dribbles as well in the match, beating his man. He showed a real high level of attacking play in that match.
Yeah, Elliot, he's a player that just continues to develop. What I like about Elliot is his application. So out of every player in the league, you can guarantee that Elliot will be there more times than anybody else. He's always working hard to improve his game, and he's still got some things that he needs to improve on. But he's highly aware of what those things are, and you can see in a game like that he can actually apply himself and execute those things quite well. So 7 dribbles, his touch on the ball has gotten better, and he's a lot more confident now, which is fantastic. His passing game is a lot stronger than it was. Defensively, he's a strong player. He reads the game well defensively, and he's one of those players that just sort of never gives up, and will track back on a counter attack, all those sorts of things. So defensively, his game is really solid. In attack, like you said, with that number of 7 dribbles, it was great to see him bringing out that flair. He does have it. It's just making the right decisions at the right time. And in this game, he managed to do that more consistently, which was great to see.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, the third player for Team of the Week from Brazza with their win over Kinkaro, Luis Fernando. A hat-trick, 6 dribbles, all in all, another fantastic performance from him.
Yeah, and I think this starts to talk to the depth of Brazza as well, right? So 3 weeks in, 3 different players from their team, and you can't sort of fault the other players either, right? So it's challenging. Actually, it might have been 4 players. So their 4th player to make Team of the Week in 3 weeks just sort of talks to their consistency and how well they're playing. And Lewis played really well. He's a fantastic player. Great touch. His movement off the ball is fantastic, and his presence on the court too is, he gets his body in the way, makes it difficult for defenders to get a toe in, and so he's a very difficult player to mark.
And I think what was most impressive about his 3 goals, obviously it was a first half hat-trick as well, but it was the way that he was able to catch Craig Autron out in goal in terms of taking the shot a little bit earlier than Craig was necessarily expecting it. And just from a goalkeeping standpoint, the position that you set yourself in, if you're expecting that shot just a fraction of a second earlier, all of a sudden your angles change.
That's right.
Not in the right position.
Yeah.
But I think Lewis was just phenomenal in front of goal. Just anytime he got the ball, you just thought this could end up in the back of the net.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's got the skill to be able to finish as well.
That was a fantastic performance all around from him. Fourth member of the team of the week for round 3 from Caledon United, Dan Liddy, getting a goal for himself, but also 9 creations. Just the way that he was able to create those opportunities for his teammates in their victory over Pisano was just fantastic.
Yeah, Dan's a quality player with a lot of experience. It's great to see him back on the court. Really excited to see what he can bring to this competition. And this game was, I suppose, just a bit of a teaser of what we could see from him. Like, quality side Pisano. They haven't really started well in this competition, but they've got some great players. And once they start to form a bit of a connection, we'll see something from them. But Dan, in this game, he was able to, his vision and his creativity and the way he read the game, move the ball around, his movement off the ball as well. You could see he was just sort of teasing with the players, pulling them out of position with slight movements and touches and getting them to exactly where he wanted them to be before creating something and really running it for his team. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do with the rest of this competition.
Agreed. Now, guys, the 5th and final player for Team of the Week round 3, another player from Orpea Athletic, Hamid Vadhadi, Marty, getting his first 2 goals of the season, creating 6 opportunities for his teammates. It was a real classy display from Hamid.
Yeah, he was really sharp, right? So, again, a player sort of coming back from an injury, so he's been a little bit slow to get started, but I was really impressed. Some good touch on the ball. His one-on-one dribbling was great. He was creating some opportunities. Like you said, scored a couple of goals. So really got himself right in the thick of this game. And I have no doubt that he'll be a massive asset to Orpea over the course of this competition.
Definitely. It was a fantastic display from him. Again, a couple of goals with the right foot and the left foot. So always, as a player, being able to put them away with both feet, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got that skill, why not use it?
So, guys, that wraps up round 3 of the season. Now we're going to jump straight again into the results from round 4. Okay, so final round before the Christmas break. First game of the night saw Caledon United come out victorious 6-0 over the Glasgow Royals. Pisano Rangers 5-0 winners over Carina FC. Kinkara Knights big winners 13-3 against Brisbane AFG, and Marty and our game of the night, Browser Futsal victorious 3-2 over Orpea Athletic. Another game of first versus second on the ladder following the results of round 3. Fantastic display all round.
Yeah, another great game. I thought what was the most interesting out of this whole piece for me was how dedicated Orpea were to their defensive strategy. There was a lot of communication about it on court. There were some key players for Orpea, Elliot Brown and Dane Stokes in particular, Aaron Hannon as well, played really strongly and committed to what they thought was going to be the best way to overcome the force that is Brazza at this stage. And, they almost pulled it off. And the final goal was almost controversial, but it was the goal stood, and both teams were not necessarily happy but comfortable that everything was above board, but lucky, right? Brazil were lucky. It was probably the game that was the hardest for them, I'd imagine.
And I think they almost were caught off guard a little bit. I mean, obviously, no denying the class some of the players that Orpea have got, but after their performance in round 3 against Kinkara, I think that was a game that, when you look at the players that they were coming up against with, the likes of the Bushminers and Adam Stacey and others, I think they almost went into that game. They came out surprisingly comfortable winners. Whether there's just a little bit of that mindset, obviously, we spoke with Coach Razmazzoli previously about how does he keep the players in check, and I think it might be one of those games where expected it to be a little bit easier than it actually turned out to be.
Yeah, I think you're right. Mindset definitely plays a big part in some of these games, and Orpea. That's the thing, right? Bras are on top now. They've come through 4 rounds, playing some great futsal. Everyone's had a chance to see what they can offer, and Orpea turned up with a strategy around how we're going to beat these guys, and
nearly pulled it off.
And they did. They nearly pulled it off, and all credit to them, right? It was great to watch from a supporter of the game, watching that game and the way it unfolded, and the way the two teams really battled out to try and eke out some kind of result, and for it to come down to pretty much the last sort of kick and from a free kick was it was great. It was great to see, and all credit to Orpea. Bras are coming out with the result, and well done to them. But I think from that, like you say, the mindset piece from them will be that, hey, we can't take anyone in this comp lightly. We've got to turn up every week, otherwise we're going to trip. And we almost tripped. We kind of staggered, and we got back to our feet. We still won the game, but I'm sure they won't let that happen again.
No, definitely. And as later on, obviously, we'll be taking a look at the ladder now that we've had the first 4 rounds. But Bras are obviously 4 wins from 4 games, out in first place. But there's a few teams just sniffing on their heels, just clipping away at them. Bras need to make sure that when they come back after the break that they are completely focused week in, week out. Otherwise, some of these teams will be able to pick up results against them.
10 weeks is another long time, and even over the course of the whole season, 14 weeks, for a team to go through and win every game is unlikely. Can happen, no doubt.
Yeah.
But they got to turn up, and that was I think they ultimately they played well, right? Let's not say that they were lucky, but they played well, and they had to fight hard, and it was good to see them have to fight, and Orpea made them earn every goal that they scored. So great performance from both teams, and a fantastic game for our last game before the break.
Yeah, and obviously, they always say the mark of a good team isn't necessarily winning when you're playing well, but it's also winning when you aren't necessarily playing as well. And this was a game where they were able to get that result regardless. There's not to say that they played poorly or anything as you mentioned, but they definitely the heights that they reached in the previous game and the games beforehand, it wasn't quite the same level.
No, it just wasn't. It wasn't easy. They had to fight. That's the thing, and it wasn't that they played poorly. It was that Orpea played really well.
Yeah, and full credit to them.
And not only defensively. I think that was the biggest standout. Was the way that they changed, and they marched from halfway, and they held them out, and they double teamed players, and they really worked hard. But even when they had the ball, they played with confidence, and they created their own opportunities.
They didn't give it away carelessly.
No, that's right.
Over.
And
smart.
Yeah, absolutely. So full credit to Orpea. I think they made them work hard, and both teams. I almost would have liked to have seen a draw, because I thought it was worth a draw. Yeah, both teams committed to the whole thing, and it was great.
No, fantastic game, obviously, as you mentioned, to end 2018 off. Now that jumped us into Team of the Week for round 4, and starting it off in goal for Braza in that game, Tiago Norman.
Yeah, great game. And I think what was interesting to see was him playing the full game.
Yeah.
Right. So there were weeks before they'd made a change at half time, and he'd come in and come in the second half. But they committed. I think they were. You could see that he was in good form, and they were under pressure, so they didn't want to make unnecessary changes. And so he's another goalkeeper for Team of the Week. Sometimes these Team of the Week competitions, you find the same players popping their head up, and especially in a goalkeeper role where there can be some players that are streaks ahead of the others. But here we are, 4 weeks in, 4 different goalkeepers, and all of them deserving of their spot each week. And Tiago this time around was really solid at the back. Sometimes he can be a little bit careless. Sometimes he can come out and play on the court, But I think that initial shock of, hang on a minute, these guys are doing something different here. Yeah. He switched back on, played his game, was solid, and again, only conceded 2, so he played well.
No, he definitely did. Thoroughly deserving of the spot. Obviously, we mentioned with the rank points over the course of the first 4 games, it's unbelievably tight amongst the goalkeepers. Obviously, we've seen Thiago and Will, Joe, all pushing up there. People like Conor McLeod as well, just a little bit behind them.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of competition for goalkeepers to be pushing each other, for these spaces in Team of the Weeks and Team of the Season selections later down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a not a bad old goalkeeper out there still plugging away that we don't mention because he hasn't had a lot to do. But Craig Odrin's there plying his trade for Kinkara as well this season, and he's a good quality goalkeeper that hasn't really had his say in this competition at this point. But he'll make a difference too, and it has already made a difference to the competition. But the goalkeepers are phenomenal.
I'd have to agree. I think usually we've previously mentioned when you go to play at tournaments or competitions, wherever they may be, the goalkeepers is such a hard spot to really knuckle down. Find someone that's comfortable enough in between the sticks that can make those differences. I mean, we've got 8 teams in this league at the moment. We've got 10, 11 goalkeepers, some of the teams doubling up, and every single one of them, the standard has just been phenomenal. And we mentioned it with this game. They've left Ian Sight on the bench for the whole game.
He couldn't get a run.
Thiago was just that good, but at the same time, next week Ian could comfortably come in, play at the same sort of standard, and then keep Thiago out of the team for the week, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
So it goes to show, just says a lot about the standards of goalkeeping in this league, which is fantastic to display. I don't think goalkeepers get enough praise in general, so it's lovely to be able to actually talk a lot about them and the roles that they've played.
Yeah, absolutely. They are making a difference to the results, so they should be, getting their time in the sun.
Definitely. Now that will let us on to the second player for Team of the Week this week, Matt Taylor from Calabar United in their victory over Gladstone Royals. 2 more goals for Matty, 7 creations. Again, real classy display from him.
Yeah, quality player with, he's got a presence on the court when he's there. Reads the game well, and one-on-one, he doesn't do a lot to create opportunities, but he does enough to put his opposite player off.
And it's subtle as well.
Absolutely, Sometimes you're thinking that he's opening himself up for a shot and he's playing a diagonal ball to a runner, and he lays the ball off well when he's playing in that target role, or comes in and slots in at the back, and again, good touch, good movement off the ball, experienced player with a lot to offer, and great to see him absolutely dominating in that game.
Yeah, and he's obviously been a mainstay for Calabar over the season, just improving week on week, and as you said, being a real key part of that team. They've now picked up on a couple of wins on the bounce after that loss in round 1, and he's been instrumental throughout the season for them, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on to the third player for Team of the Week from Kinkara Knights in their win over Brisbane AFG, Adam Stacey.
Yeah, dominant performance from Adam in this game. I don't think anyone really could have tipped this result, right?
No.
AFG,
after their performance last week,
the
week beforehand, and Kinkara on the back of their loss to Braza, the mindset, AFG 2 wins from 2, going well, maybe a bit of confidence down, but 13-3.
Yeah, it was a big result. I think that AFG were definitely off their game. I think even in commentary commented about some of their passing options, but Kinkara came back, and Adam in that role, he was definitely dominant. Controlled the ball well, controlled the pace of the game, and just finished really well. 5 goals.
Yeah, first player ever to score 5 goals in a game within the Superliga.
Yeah,
a nice achievement for him to have. Obviously.
Absolutely. I'm sure he'll have some of his teammates breathing down his neck in future rounds. But he played a real, I suppose, like I said, dominant role, dominant performance, where a lot of what happened for Kinkara sort of happened through him, and even even defensively, he was a strong performer on the night, and AFG just could not find a way through him. So, well done to Adam. We haven't spoken a lot about him in terms of the previous weeks, but
consistent player.
Absolutely, and he's one of those players that can definitely turn a game when he wants to, and on that particular night he did.
Made a big difference, yeah. So our fourth player in this week's Team of the Week, his teammate Brian Kwan, making only his second appearance of the season after joining, a good addition for them to have, picking up 2 goals for himself, a number of dribbles, creating opportunities for people like Adam to put goals away, but another great performance from Brian.
Yeah, he played really well. What I liked about him was just how simple he plays. Good quality passing options, great vision to see what's in front of him. Has the touch to be able to skin players when he needs to, but he's not overplaying it. It's very, very simple futsal, but it's clinical, and scored a couple, created plenty, and I'd like to see a lot more of him in this competition. We've spoken about Kinkara and their recruitment, and this is one that they've actually done really well here.
Definitely, yeah. Been a strong addition to the team, and having that depth is only going to be beneficial to them going forwards, and obviously to Brian as well. He can add a lot to that team. He can learn amongst a new environment of players, so it's only going to be beneficial for both parties, really.
So, yeah.
And now, guys, on to the fifth and final player in the Team of the Week for round 4, and also, funnily enough, our Player of the Month, Jamie Dimitrov from Browser Futsal. I mean, what more to say? Another classy display. Picking up a goal, number of creations, 7 in total, opportunities left, right. Not all put away, obviously. We saw a very close 3-2 win over Orpea for Browser, but again, Jamie was just instrumental for them in their result.
Yeah, agreed. He's a player, like we said before, we didn't know a lot about him for this competition, but he's come in here and
he's put his mark down.
Yeah, absolutely. He's here to win it. Had a good chat with him after the game, and he's. I think he's really enjoying his futsal. He's playing in a good quality side, and he's contributing at a high level, allowing him a bit of the freedom to actually play his game without having to worry about carrying a team on his shoulders or anything like that. But he's really adding a lot to this Brazos side. And again, I think for him, it's the vision and the tactical understanding that he shows to see that his players are moving and are in position to receive the pass, and he's hitting some simple balls, but seeing things that some of the other players just aren't seeing around him.
And I mean, I've absolutely loved watching his work rates over the season. He just does not stop. Anytime, Braza, we've mentioned it before, being very clinical and efficient with their passing and their movement, but when they do make slip-ups and they turn possession over, he's straight there, pressure on the man.
Yeah,
so
works.
It's fantastic.
And if it's not pressure on the man, it's working back in defence. And within futsal, you can't talk highly enough of a player that can get their ass back as quickly as they can once they've lost possession. Right, so that comes highly rated, and he's a player that absolutely delivers that. So hats off to Jamie. Great performance in this game, and to end up with Player of the Month, our first month of Superliga, and with top quality players here in Brisbane playing at this level, and for him to come out on top of the pops, that's great. Well done to Jamie. Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, thoroughly deserved, Jamie. Now, guys, 4 rounds down in the season. Let's take a quick look at the ladder and just see how things sit at the moment. Now, so taking a look at the ladder after the first 4 rounds of the season, as we said before, top of the league, 4 wins from 4, Browser Futsal, followed closely by Kinkara Knights and Caledon United on 6 points each. Just behind them is Orpea Athletic and Brisbane AFG with 4 points apiece. Basana Rangers sitting in 6th with 2 points, and in 7th and 8th, Carina FC and Glasgow Royals respectively, 0 points. Again, I think Marty, based on what we've seen over the first 4 rounds of the season, I'd say that the ladder is fairly representative of what we've seen. Obviously, not to mention that Brisbane AFG and Basana Rangers have both got a game in hand against each other on the other team. So, when that fixture happens, if Brisbane AFG are able to get a victory over Basanda, that pushes them right up into that top 4, competing with Caledon, Kinkara, and Braza. So, even though Braza have, they've set a tempo, 4 wins from 4, they're off to a fantastic start. Like I said, we've got 10 more games, plenty of time for other teams to.
And a big target on the back, right? So other teams, even down to Glasgow at the bottom at the moment, they're working hard, and they'll know that every time they've got to turn up, they've got to play well. But every team is going to turn up to play against Braza week in, week out, and bring their best every time. Whereas they might play against the other teams and have an off night or whatever it is. Braza can guarantee themselves they're going to play a tough team every week. And so can they continue to deliver what we've seen so far? That'll be the true test, right? So 10 weeks, can they keep going? From what we've seen so far, sure. And they had a nice tight tussle with Orbia, but can they keep going? So that'll be the question. But all the other, the other games, agreed. I think Kinkara and Caledon probably where I would have expected them to be.
Orbia alongside as well.
Yeah, Orbia again with a couple of games, a couple of results that sort of went to the wire. That again, round 2 comes along. They're playing those same teams again. Those results could easily be flipped. So they're a team to watch. And let's not write off Basana Rangers either. I think they've got plenty to offer. Again, a game in hand, a tough start for them. A couple of results they wouldn't have liked, but they get their whole squad on court every week. They've got some quality players. I think they can at least, from what we see in the moment with the table, they'll deliver some upsets to a couple of more fancy sides. That's for sure.
Definitely, and obviously, all teams in the league, $14,000 prize pool on the line. There's, opportunities for them to earn prizes regardless of position. So there's incentive every week for teams. As well as the love of playing the game, but knowing that every week you want to be pushing hard, getting those results, trying to work your way up the ladder, and basically increase your share in the sense of that prize pool.
That's right. It's worthwhile coming. That's for sure.
So guys, that is going to wrap us up for today. Round 5 of the Superliga de Futsal Brisbane will be getting underway, and next Tuesday, January the 8th, live at the Logan Metro Indoor Sports Centre. You'll be able to check the game out live on our Facebook page. It'll be streamed on YouTube as well, so be sure to check it out there. Follow the page, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll see you then. Cheers.